Ready?
Yeah.
Anyone who has ever met my brother Jim has always come away with this vague feeling that he's really going to become the next Darwin Award recipient.
Oh.
Now, he doesn't have a death wish, but he has what my family calls the adventure gene. We all have it, but Jim has it more than most. And as a sibling, we encourage it as much as possible. So that's why when Brother David and I went in the backyard, dug a hole, put water in it, camouflaged it, and just let Jim adventure into it. So of course he was stuck all day in the mud because he couldn't get out until Mother got home, pulled him out, hosed him off, and the best part, spanked the victim, dragged Jim in the house, and put him to bed. That's usually her answer to everything, except, go play in the street. And at the day and age, we lived at the edge of town, we could. There was no traffic. But one day, Jim comes out with a beach towel around his neck and says, I am Superman! And proceeded to get on the swing set. But instead of setting, he stands on it and he starts pumping away until he gets to the apex and he crouches down and leaps straight out. And with his arms outstretched, he actually looked like Superman for a moment with the beach towel waving behind him until his foot caught on the swing and it dragged him straight to the ground. Knocked the wind right out of him. So of course we took the beach towel, dragged him in the house, and put him to bed. Then there was the tire incident. Now, although our yard is fun, we love the Foster yard because they actually lived one block up and their whole backyard went the whole block at a 45-degree angle until it got into a bunch of trees and an 8-foot drop straight to our street. And they got some tires and they found a tractor tire. Well, Jim's adventure gene just kicked right in and said, I must ride in this tire. And to this very day, those boys tell me that they really meant to stop before they got to the trees. Unfortunately, they lost control of the tractor tire and he went off the 8-foot drop. And he bounced. He bounced almost high enough to go over the hood of the police car that was driving down our street. And that was the day both Jim and David got to be taken home for the first time in a police car. Believe me, there were many more times. And of course, he turned him over to Mother, who spanked them both soundly,
And put him to bed.
and dragged them in the house, and
put him to bed.
But all time in the Foster yard is winter. And we would make a saucer path that would come down and then gently curve off to the edge of the yard. And for those who don't know anything about saucers, today they're molded plastic with handles built in, but in my day, they were made out of 10-gauge steel, barely folded over. So, of course, if you had an accident, you didn't lop off anybody's arm or leg, with burlap rope to drag it around. And you had to wear 2 pairs of pants, otherwise you're stuck to the bottom of the thing. Well, the boys have been playing all morning, but they didn't think it was Olympic fast. And I made the suggestion, why don't we get the garden hose and we'll hose it down with water? And then it'll be really, really fast. So they built up a nice thick layer of ice. And Jim, of course, jumped right in and said, I must be first. So he gets in, he puts his arms through the rope, and he gets a really tight grip. And Brother David gently kicks him off the edge. And he starts going fast, really quick. And the boys at the top of the hill are going, yeah, cool. And he gets faster and faster, and he gets down to the bottom, but instead of gently curving off to the right, he goes straight up into the air, like
Superman, a flying saucer.
Yes, he was flying. He was flying. At slalom. I was thinking just like the giant slaloms. Instead of going like the bobsleds, he was
You think it's ski
slaloming.
jump?
Ski jump, yes, ski jump. And of course the guys at the top of the hill seeing him airborne goes, yeah, cool! Until he hit the first tree. And then he slammed into the ground and he ricocheted off another tree and realized he was heading for the 8-foot drop. And the only thing he can think of, because he's panicking, he can't get his arms out of the ropes, so the only thing he can think of is to lean back as far as he can and uses his head like some human ship's anchor, dragging a wake in the snow until he finally stops right on the edge of the drop. Of course, the guys were mad because we had to use the sled in order to take him home, drag him into the house, and put him to bed. But it didn't stop them from building up the bank so they could play safely for the rest of the afternoon. You all want to know, I know you all want to know this. He did survive childhood. But the adventure gene is still alive and well in Jim. When we see him standing in the garage in a puddle of water, changing out that light fixture, muttering things like, I don't need to turn off no stinking electricity. And his wife stands to the side because she knows him by now and she knows she has only two choices. Either call the paramedics or just simply drag Jim into the house and put him to bed.